Support for the Living Wisdom podcast is provided by In Touch Pharmaceuticals, a long-term care pharmacy committed to meeting the specialized pharmaceutical needs of their clients. Visit intouchpharma.com. Hey, welcome back to our Living Wisdom podcast. I think we're talking about a great topic right now that for some reason it's so close to home for me. We've been talking a little bit about that. I'm Karsten alongside Deb Carriveau, and we're talking about this resistance to medication when it comes to the loved one you're caring for. And I was saying to you, I can only relate to this in terms of my 2-year-old or when we had an elderly dog that we were trying to help. And I was saying to you, I see red when there is medicine rejection because I feel so helpless. So when I saw that we were talking about this, I was like, let's go, let's dive into it. What are your suggestions? Your loved one's refusing. What do you do?
So first of all, I want to encourage caregivers to think about, when you're meeting resistance to this, attempt to get your loved one to take medication, which is going to be helpful.
Yeah.
Typically, that's a form of communication for them. There's something behind that resistance. So it might be they're just afraid of what you're giving them. They don't understand what the purpose is. It might be anxiety related to the fact that just the whole process of taking medication can be overwhelming. So really want to talk about focusing on ways to break things down, make things simpler, hopefully try to meet less resistance in the process in terms of how you're doing it. The other thing that we have a tendency to do as caregivers is when people don't cooperate and don't do exactly what we think they should do, all of a sudden somehow that means we personally have failed.
Yes.
And all of that comes because you're trying so hard to do something that is helpful for your loved ones, but they don't know or understand that. So you have to understand and realize this isn't about you, this is about their process and how best can you create it in such a way that they're going to be more receptive.
Yeah, so what are some tips? What should we be doing?
So first thing is, I would say look at the way you're presenting medication. So first of all, remember that your loved one with dementia can be overwhelmed very easily. So doing something like bringing all the medication bottles to the table and putting all those things in front of them at one time can just be, overwhelming, and their response automatically is going to be, holy cow, no way, I'm out of here, I can't do that. So instead of doing that, one of the recommendations I have is try to break things down in simple steps. So for some individuals, you might be able to bring all of the 9 a.m. medications together in a little cup and get your loved one to take them all together without the 5 bottles of medication. The other thing, it might be that your loved one having all 5 of those pills is just overwhelming. So you may have to find that your process is going to be 1 pill at a time, one at a time over the course of an extended period. So maybe you do 1 pill every half an hour until you've gotten all the pills down. So it really depends on your loved one and how much can they tolerate and what does that look like. The other thing we have a tendency to do as caregivers is that we want to do everything to get it all done, right? And so we lose sight of the fact that we really need to try to engage our loved one and let them do as much independently as possible. So if I can take the pill out of the bottle myself, let me do that. If I can pour my glass of water myself, let me do that. The more engaged I am, the more actively participant I am in that process, the less resistive I'm going to be to it.
What about different forms? Like, is there a way to hide it or break it up?
So one of the options is if you have pills that are crushable, and you can know that either from your doctor or your pharmacist can advise you. There are certain meds that you can crush without any risk. There are other medications that you should leave whole because crushing them could impact their efficiency and the way they're metabolized. But if you have pills that are crushable, you can crush them, mix them with food. One of the things that individuals with dementia retain the taste of for a long period of time and is one of the primary ones, and that is sweets.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant they remember the taste of the meds. I'm like,
no.
me too.
So if you mix a medication with ice cream or applesauce or pudding, something that has a sweet taste, lots of times that will disguise it and it'll get past their palate and they'll be able to take it. And most individuals who have dementia love sweets. It's one of their favorite things. So they will typically take anything that's sweet. The other thing is to talk to your doctor or your pharmacist about medications that come in other forms that might be more acceptable to your loved one. So if they're overwhelmed by a lot of pills, there are medications that will come in liquid form. So you could mix them with their juice, you could put it in their coffee, things like that, that might be easier to get inside of people. The other thing is there are lots of medications, dementia medications included, that can be in a patch form, so that they don't have to take a pill at all. You can just put a patch on their arm or their back, and they've got their day's dose worth of their Alzheimer's dementia medication. The other thing is there are actually medications to help with anxiety and those kinds of things that actually can be administered through a cream. So it's just like a lotion or a cream that you can massage into your loved one's arm or their hand, and the medication can be absorbed that way. So there are lots of alternatives that could be available. It's just a matter of talking with your physician or your pharmacist and finding out, what are the most critical medications. I would talk to your physician about the fact that if your loved one has 6 medications and you're only going to get 3 down, what are the most important 3? So which 3 should you prioritize? And if the other 3 don't happen, oh well, we move on. The other thing is look at the environment you're trying to administer medications in. First of all, are you calm? Or are you going off the rails because you're not getting this person to cooperate right away? Because understand, and we've talked about this in previous podcasts, but just a reminder, people with dementia are 3 times more sensitive to nonverbal communication than verbal. So they are going to read your anxiety, your mood, your temperament. That's going to influence how receptive they are and how cooperative they are with you and what you're trying to do. So first of all, ask yourself, are you calm and stable going into this process? Okay. The second thing is look at the environment. If it's getting close to medication time, turn off the TV, put on some soft music. I encourage people, think about what's something that your loved one really enjoys doing. Maybe do that thing about 30 minutes before you're going to try to give them medication. Because although that interaction might only last 15, 20 minutes that they really enjoy, the chemical reaction that happens in the brain that causes all of those really pleasant chemicals to be released and keeps my mood stable will stay with that person for hours sometimes afterwards. So you can set up the mood, you can set up the frame of mind ahead of time before you're getting into it. And that's true for any difficult care task that you might be facing as a caregiver. So try changing or altering the environment or what comes before medication time.
It's probably okay at some point to say, this isn't working, let's try this again in a little bit.
Absolutely. So don't be afraid, when all else fails, and the truth and reality is sometimes it will, okay? Walk away and come back at it at another time. Medications that are ordered once a day can happen anytime during the day. We want to try to keep things consistent to maintain blood levels and that kind of thing, but for many of the medications, it does not matter if it's ordered at 9 a.m. one time a day and they don't get it till noon. That's okay, as long as you get it in them, So it's just trying to readjust and reframe your thinking and the whole process. The other thing is try to break it down into steps. and don't feel like you have to get everything done, every pill done, every medication done in one attempt. So if it means you give one pill every half hour for the next 4 hours, do whatever works, okay? Don't put additional stress on yourself or on your loved one trying to make it happen in some structured, traditional way because that's how somebody told you it should be done.
Makes sense. Make it work for you.
Absolutely.
Support for the Living Wisdom podcast is provided by In Touch Pharmaceuticals, a long-term care pharmacy committed to meeting the specialized pharmaceutical needs of their clients. Visit intouchpharma.com.